So tensor rings is a term for a 0-point scalar wave device made out of copper or silver or gold, any precious metal really. Slim Spurling was the designer or inventor of it in the late 90s.
Slim Spurling.
Slim Spurling. He's the
What a
OG.
name.
The OG hillbilly. I love that man.
He made this.
He didn't make that one specifically. I did, but he developed that design. I guess you could say. So he used to just be a metalsmith, and he was working with copper, steel, and all the other metals. And someone came into a shop one day and said, like, "Hey, try out this design. What we do is we took copper, we bent it in half, and twisted it on itself, put it around your ring." On your electric meter. And so he did, and what he found was that whatever was going on, it was reducing his electric bill, right? And this is just the beginning of all of it. And so from there, he recognized, okay, this is doing something with the energetic field. And so then he started working with dowsers, other people that work with energy, basically. And so they started doing tests on geopathic stress lines, ley lines, with water, with food, with the environment. And what he found is these devices produce harmonic life force energy. Not only do they produce life force energy, but it also harmonizes any discordant or stagnant energy in the space. Yeah. So space holds information. I'm sure all of you have been into a space where you walk in and you're like, oh my God, it's pretty dense in here, pretty heavy. You're like, whoa, I'm not feeling it. And you turn around right away.
Right.
And then you walk into other places and you're like, wow, I don't want to leave. So beautiful. And that is a representation that space holds information.
Yeah.
And so with that, you can use these devices to take that stagnant energy, that like, I don't like this feeling, I want to get out of here, and transmute it into light, harmonic energy. Would you like me to explain how that works?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so
You're tuning. It's like tuning it.
Tuning it.
It's like
these?
tuning the frequency.
Oh, yes, very much so. Sorry. Yeah, so basically very similar like magnets and elemental energies. There's a negative and positive end, or a south and north end. So when you take a long wire of copper, there's a negative end and a positive end, right? So there's that current. When you bend it in half and twist it on itself, the north is now going north and south, and the south is now going north and south. So it creates equal amount of energy flowing in opposite directions, right?
Yep.
And now, an analogy once again, if you were to take two cars going 50 miles an hour at each other, and they go head-on collide, they're just going to stop. No one's going to go right, no one's going to go left, right? It creates a 0-point field. So that's what the tensor ring is doing, where equal amount of energy is flowing north, equal amount is flowing south, and while that's happening, they're canceling each other out, but there's still that inertia. There's still that energy flowing. God. But at the point, it's like collapsing and expanding at the same time. Got it. All right, interesting. So you have that 0-point energy, and then like I was saying earlier with the cubits, you take these cubits that have been used in ancient civilizations. One, for example, is the king's chamber of the Cheops Giza pyramids.
Got you.
Yeah, so they use a very specific measurement to create the king's chamber. Right. And that measurement is 26.2 centimeters or 52.4 centimeters. That's a full cubit. I think it's 20.6 inches. I work primarily in centimeters, y'all. So
the metrics.
So that's
so yeah. Why what's a cubit though? Why did they do that measurement?
Yeah, so they've and I have no idea how they found this, but they found that measurement, right, that like 52.4 centimeters creates a resonant frequency. So there are frequencies that create chaos, and there's frequencies that create order. Right. And so that 52.4 centimeters created a very resonant effect in frequency. And so they put that as the measurement in the king's chamber. They're like, well, we want a resonant energy in here. This is like where one is going to receive lots of energy and, blah, blah, blah.
Can you believe that structure? Like, how crazy is it?
It just goes to show how intelligent we are.
Totally, bro. It's like matches up with like the dimensions of our realm and all this stuff and the bait. Pretty cool.
The speed of light is on the longitude that it's at. 51.5125 degrees is also a part of the Fibonacci sequence and the phi ratio. It's just a lot of sacred geometry in that.
It's aligned with the stars.
Orion's belt. Yeah.
So cool.
Yeah, it's very, very powerful. So yeah, you take that harmonic measurement from the tensor ring, and what you can do is you solder it into a ring. Once you solder it into a ring, right, you first have that straight line measurement. When you solder it into a ring, it then creates a toroidal field. Creates a toroidal field, a portal of light, a beacon of light, and it creates that ring now. So instead of that current having a beginning and an end, it now no longer has a beginning nor an end. So it just isness. It's that circle, right? There's no beginning or an end on a circle. So it's that wholeness. And so within that ring is completely structured and harmonized matter. Like I was saying, that toroidal field, right? So in the center of the ring, matter is constantly being pulled in, shaped, structured, and then emitted out. And you can test this with water tests. You take a glass of water, you put a tensor ring underneath it, and you freeze it for about 4 hours. You run a little bit of water over it so you can see on the inside of the ice. And what you'll see is literally a toroidal field.
Whoa.
And for those that don't know what a toroidal field is, cut an apple in half. You see how like the pit is in the center with all the seeds, and then it goes out and around, and then it comes back from the bottom up to the center, up and around. That's a toroidal field. So basically the frozen ice, the frozen water, if you look at it, it will have a column, a beacon in the center of the ice, and then it'll have a bunch of bubble molecules pushing outwards. And that is showing basically the energetic effect of what's going on. It is centering energy, and then it's exuding it outwards. So water holds memory, right? So when we freeze it, we allow, like, it's basically taking a snapshot of time and energy and what's going on. Because the water can hold the visual aspect of the energy.
Yeah, the structure.
Exactly.
Wow.
We're in the garden. It's existential.